Welcome to our first PUSU Podcast 2021.
2021. I'm your host, Alia, and of course, because this is special episode, I will accompany with my partner, Muti. Hi. Hello, Muti.
Hi Alia.
Hi, how was your day?
I feel good, Alia. How about you?
Well, I'm really good, thank you. So, what you feel for our first episode?
I feel so excited because we have our special guest stars.
Wow, really? Who is our special guest star today?
Yes, what I know is they are very charming, handsome, and beautiful, Alia.
Wow, that's really amazing. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, without any further ado, please welcome our special guest star, Mr. and Miss President University 2020, to Mr. Bryant and Miss Nathasya.
Hello guys,
Hello
Hello.
everyone.
Hello, Mr. Brian.
Hello.
Hello, Miss Nathasya. So, welcome to
hello.
PUSU Podcast. And yeah, such an honorable and great time to having you here as our guest star today. How was your day?
My day have been wonderful, Alia, and thank you. What about you?
I'm really good, thank you. And what
Hey,
about
Miss
Hi.
Miss
Nathasya.
Nathasya?
Yes, I'm really happy to be in here, and my day is wonderful too. How about Muti?
Oh, I'm very good, Kat. Thank you for asking. Okay, first, we would like to know yourself, know yourself, Kat. So, would you like to give us your short introduce so our listeners can know more about you?
Okay, so maybe from first, my name is Mr. Brian, and I'm from Mr. and Miss President University 2020, and I'm serving as the second runner-up of Mr. President University 2020. So nice to meet you all.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, and I'm Miss Natasha Sardi as Miss President University 2020. Nice to meet you, and I hope from this podcast we can get insight. Thank you.
Alright, great. But before we jump into our main topic, as we know, because our listeners are not only President University students, maybe some of our listeners don't know about Mr. and Miss President University. Can you explain briefly what Mr. and Miss President University is?
So, Mr. and Miss President University is role model of the President University. We are serving as the face of the campus and one of the role model for students follow of in the President University. So that's all from me.
Okay. As you mentioned before, Mr. and Miss President University is the role model. So, may you share with us what is your daily activities as a role model as a Mr. and Miss in President University?
All right. So one of the purpose of being a role model is giving a good vibes and influence to the others. So with this current pandemic conditions that we cannot go to the campus and we do this from home, all that we can do is just try to spread good positive and vibes with all that is available right now, such as in this podcast. We want to try to inspire you and motivate you with all of the insights that we have.
Alright, what about Miss Natasha?
Okay, thank you. So, from me and my daily activity, I give my heart in everything I do. And yes, we can still give in our daily activity, like when we do our best in our university classes, and yeah, do our works and all in our family. We can bring positive vibes to our family and share our stories with them and motivate them. Thank you.
Wow.
Alright. So, yeah, I just curious, is there any obstacle or difficulties when you become Mr. and Miss President University?
Okay, actually, ups being Mr. and Miss, that we are the role model. We should maintain our behavior because we are seen by everyone. But for me, it is not an obstacle itself because for me, maintaining behavior is very important because it is how we represent ourselves, being good with others and being polite also. So it is not an obstacle actually, and it is more about giving the best for the environment.
Alright.
Okay.
Obstacles that we face, not only me but also my family. But however, in Mr. and Miss President University, we're not only about winning or losing, but it's about motivating and also how we can respect and be one family. It means like how we can respect and be one family. It means like everything that we do it with heart, and we have to like give motivation to our family in Mr. and Miss, but actually with our friends too in our surroundings. And yeah, if we have this sense, family sense, we can face every obstacles that happen in our life. Thank you.
Alright.
Wow. Okay. As
Insightful ya,
we
Muti?
may know, yeah, very insightful. And then talking about obstacle and difficulty, as we may know, after a hurricane comes a rainbow, right, Alia?
Yeah.
So,
Alright.
so after our guest is struggling with the obstacle and difficulty that they help, maybe they will get achievement and rewards
Yeah.
self. So,
Achievements.
can you share with us what is your goals, achievement, and rewards that you get during your time as Mr. and Miss President University?
Okay, thank you. So, actually, being part of Mr. and Miss President University is once in a lifetime opportunity because in here on how to be the best version of ourselves because everyone is different. We cannot compare me with Alia. So it is more about how to be the best version of ourselves, and I'm proud of it. And the journey that we've been through, all of the struggles, the sweat, tears that we may face as one family. It is actually one of the things that I'd love to be part of Mr. and Miss President University family. And what about you, Miss Natasha?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ryan. My achievement is actually to be part of Mr. and Miss President University and to be part in President University itself because I've never think about being in Mr. and Miss, and I've never thought to be in President University and to be part of you guys, part of Mr. and Miss also. It's a great opportunity, and it is a really great achievement that I can get. And also, my achievement is when I can give my whole time and also my heart in doing something. And in Mr. and Miss President University, I give my heart and also my time, and I've been supported with my other families in Mr. and Miss President University. So that's from me. Thank you.
Yeah. It's not easy at all, yeah. And it's all takes struggle to achieve it. Yeah, Muti?
Yes, you're right, Alia.
Alright, so we jump into our main topic. It's about strategic leadership. Alright, so as we know, strategic leadership is like ability to influence other, and also there are so many aspects in strategic leadership. Not only focuses on strategic leadership itself. So what you think about strategic leadership, Mr. Brian and Miss Natasha?
Okay, thank you, Alia. So, from my perspective about when we talk about what strategic leadership is, first of all, let us see that the phrase itself, strategic leadership, it consists of two words, which is strategic and leadership. While the words of leadership itself often refers to an act of leading a group of people or organizations, while strategic means implementing a general plan to achieve one or more long term goals under conditions of uncertainty. So, we may conclude that strategic leadership is an act of leading a group of people with a general plans to achieve a commonly agreed goal. So, what about you, Miss Natasha?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ryan. About strategic leadership, Mr. Ryan already say his opinion about strategic leadership. But before we jump to the definition and my opinions, I will talk more about the leadership. So there are two types of leader. There are boss and leader. As a boss, they basically give orders. Yet leader help and guide the member in order to achieve the goal. And in my opinion, strategic leadership is the way in influencing the other members to contribute and build the sense of family. So they feel belongs to the family and being responsible. That's all. Thank you.
Wow, a
All
very good
right.
answer for both of our guests, Taria, Alia.
Yeah, that's really good.
Okay, talking about strategic leadership, before we dig deeper about strategic leadership, may I know who is your favorite leader? Maybe Alia, who is your favorite leader?
All right. Okay. So yeah, I will answer. My favorite leader is Shah Rukh Khan. You know Shah Rukh Khan, Muti? No,
Why Shah Rukh Khan, Alia?
no. I'm just kidding about it. Okay, just intermezzo, yeah, just intermezzo.
Alright,
So
alright.
okay, so my favorite leader is Satya Nadella, CEO of Microsoft. Yeah, that's my favorite leader.
Oh, my favorite leader is BJ Habibie because yeah, we know the
Yeah.
inspirational stories, right?
All right.
And then how about our guest star, Mr. Brian and Miss Natasha? Who is your favorite leader?
Okay, thank you, Alia and Mutia. That is actually a good role model for you guys. But for me, my role model of leader is the great General Sudirman. Because for me, he is an example of a good leader that we can see is when he leads his army on guerrilla warfare in times of trouble in Indonesia. He always listens to his colleagues and advices and discuss on what is the best way to achieve their goals. And even when he is sick, he also can go with them and do best for his army. He's not just giving orders, but he also go with his members. So there's a sense of responsibility between General Sudirman and with his members, and he became one of them, not being just a leader. He motivate, encourage, and support his. So that's all for me. What about Miss Natasha?
Okay, thank you. So actually, every leader have their own way to like lead someone to manage the organization and their members. But from me, I love when Bapak Jokowi, our president, lead our nation because I see that he put his whole heart to our nation and we can see it from his interaction with the public. So I love the way he lead our nation, Indonesia. That's all. Thank you.
All right. Talking about good leader. So what you think a good leader looks like, Mr. Brian and Miss Natasha?
Okay, so what a good leader looks like for me is that leader must have three main characteristics. The characteristics are first is he should be a good listener. Second is he should be open-minded. And the third one, he should be collaborative members because being a good leader always listens to the feedbacks from the members and open for the open discussion to discuss but which is the best way achieve a common goal instead of just following his own ambition. And that's all for me. What about you, Miss?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Brian. As already mentioned before, every leader have their own way to lead. And in my opinion, a good leader can shown by how the organization can deal with every problems and circumstances that happen. Because a good should be able to be cool-headed, calm, and stay objective in assessing and handling every problems that they may encounter. So yeah, that's a good leader from me.
Wow,
Right.
that's a good answer.
Yeah, that's a good
Okay, as
answer.
Miss Natasha mentioned before, a good leader needs to stay calm in every problem. It's related to emotional intelligence. So, in
All
this case, what
right.
do you think if there is a leader that doesn't have a good emotional intelligence? And do you have a tip for us, for our listener, to manage our emotion state? Maybe we can start from Mr. Brian.
Thank you. So I think every leaders have a good emotional control. Well, not just for leaders. I think all of us should have a good emotional controls, because when we face things with our emotion first, we cannot think clearly, we cannot clear our mind, we cannot be open-minded. And I think that when we face troubles with emotion, the decisions that we make will lead to a bad impact. So my tip for you is just stay calm, assess every situation first, and then think what you're gonna do happen. So maybe that's all for me. What about you, Miss Natasha?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Brian. I really agree with what Mr. Brian already mentioned before. Like, not only for leader, but for all of us, we have to have a good emotional control. Because if we have these skills, we can think from both sides, positive and negative, and we can gain many perspective from our surroundings. And if we can gain many perspective and also see from both sides, I believe that we can choose the right way or the right decision in dealing with our problems and circumstances in our life. Because yes, problems will always come to our life. It is just how we deal with it and how can we like be the best and give the best in our life. That's all. Thank you.
All right, so emotional intelligence is really important, yeah, for all people, not only for leader.
Yes, it's really right.
All right, so okay, talking about self-awareness, how to motivate ourselves and other people around us. How to be motivator for ourselves and for other people around us. So maybe Mr. Brian first.
Okay, so let me repeat this. You want to ask either how to be a good motivation for our surroundings, right, Alia?
Yeah.
Okay, so how be good influence for our surroundings is just start from ourselves first before we start to give a good impact and good and positivity vibe to the others. First of all, we should to have that positivity vibe first, because when you want to influence others, it starts from yourself first. You cannot just talk to how cannot just influence the others if we have the problems itself from ourselves. So maybe for me, one of the way to have a good influence to the others is by communicate with them. Communication is a strong tools for us to influence others. It is actually more sharper than words, because just like what we know, words are stronger than sword. And it is true. By words, we can bring a good, even a great impact for the society. So that's all for me. What about you, Miss Nat?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Brian. To influence or give positive impacts to the society, we can start small. Like maybe many of us think we have to be like influencer or someone that big that see like someone like a teacher or yeah, someone that sees big from our perspective. But in my opinions, to influence and to like give the positive vibes to our surroundings, we can start by giving like our heart to them. Like in if we can give our heart to everything that we can do and be a good listeners, also being there for them, we can motivate and also influence, give a good influence to our surroundings. And also, like what Mr. Brian said, if we listen to our friends and our surroundings and we give like a small motivation quotes or yeah, like share stories to them, I think from that side, the people that hear our stories can get many motivation or influence from us. Thank you.
All right, so that's
Yeah,
pretty
very
good, yeah.
good. Yeah, very good answer again from our guest
Yeah,
star. So
from our
still talking
special
about
guest star, yeah.
yeah, still
All
talking
right.
about self-awareness and still related to self-love. So what do you
Oh
think?
yeah,
A good leader still need a self-love, right?
right.
Mr. Brian
Yeah.
and Miss Natasha?
Yes, it's right.
Of
Maybe Mr.
course.
Brian first.
Okay, so self love, well, it is very important not just for leaders but to all of us, because by doing self love, we can give the positivity from ourselves. When you love yourself, you can start to love others. When you love yourself, you understand yourself also, because in this life we should have a purpose. Love yourself and set your purpose. What's the point of living if we don't have any objective? So maybe there's some quotes for me about how's life. Life is it just like a blank of a paper. We can draw something beautiful out of it, or either we can just leave it blank. It is the choice is up to us, because in this life there's a lot of choices and that we can choose, and it is up to us whether we can be something great or just don't want to improve. So it may start from self. So what about you, Miss Nat?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ryan. About love yourself. Yes, it's really important not only for leaders, but for all of us. Like, to love yourself. If you don't start with yourself, how can you love someone? I think all of you already heard about this before, like this sentence. Yes, I really agree with that. If we can love somebody, we also have to love ourselves first. If we want to be respected by somebody, we have to respect ourselves first. It starts from ourselves. And actually, I have a tips in loving ourselves. Maybe some of us think that I can love my friends, I can love my families, while we think that we don't really take care of ourselves. But if we take care and also love ourselves first, we can love our friends and our families more than before. And the tips is like when our friends or family have birthday, we usually give them presents, right? And we actually can do the same thing to ourselves because we have to be proud for ourselves and we have to like support ourselves too. If not you, the one who support yourself, who will support you? So please start with yourself first. Try to give present for yourself and motivate yourself because it starts from you. Thank you.
Wow, very good
Okay.
answer,
Yeah.
Nealia.
So
After this, I
yeah.
will buy something for myself in
Yeah.
order of the reward for myself.
Yeah. Me too. Yeah. All right.
Yes.
So everything is start from you by ourselves. Okay. So okay, Mr. Brian and Miss Natasha, I would like to ask you. So which one that you choose? Strong communications or good listening skills? So you have to
Hmm.
answer this, but you have to choose one. Yeah. One.
Only
Only
one.
one. Yeah. Okay.
It's
Oh,
really
that
hard.
is yeah. It is a hard
Yeah. Yeah.
question.
Okay, we can
Okay.
start from Mr. Brian
Yeah, Mr.
first.
Brian first.
Okay, so actually, those two things are related one another. A good listener and good communicator. So yeah, but since I have one, I would like to choose to be a good listener because I want to understand how the feelings first. Because understanding the others may give us insight how they perceive their informations, and we can think about how do we react to it. How can we express ourselves to be a good communicator if we cannot understand our situation and the situations of our environment? That's why I choose to be a good listener. And what about you, Miss Natasha? Which one do you choose on this tricky question?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ryan. Actually, I'm really surprised with your answer, Mr. Ryan, because we are in the same team. Like, I also choose to be a good listener. Like what Mr. Ryan said, actually, both of them is really related, and I think we cannot separate it. But I have to choose one, and yes, I choose to be a good listener because, in my opinions, if we have the ability to listen to someone, because actually not all of us in here have this skill, because to listen is actually it's also hard for me to listen when somebody is talking. But yes, to be a good listener and to listen to others' perspective, we can get insight and we can see from many sides. Like we can see from the positive or negative, we can see from others' perspective, so we can choose the right decision for our problems or in making decisions in our life. And to listen to our surroundings is really helpful. And if we can listen to somebody perspective, I think we can we can be the best version ourselves because we get motivated from them and we get positive vibe from them. That's from me. Back to Alia or Mutia.
Wow.
All
Be a
right,
good
Muti.
listeners, Alia. Do you
Yeah.
know, Alia, our listeners is also a good listeners
Yeah.
because
All
they
right.
get insight from our Mr.
For
and Miss
yeah.
here, right?
Right. So
Okay.
okay. Okay,
Talking
Muti.
about communication.
All right.
So, how to manage
Communication.
our communication, manage our relationship in this current situation? As we may know, it's
Yeah.
hard, yeah.
Yeah,
Actually,
it's
it's
hard, yeah.
online, like the
We just a
internet
virtual,
problem. Sorry,
yeah.
it's a connection problem. The typical
Disconnecting.
reason, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mr. Brian and Miss Natasha, would you like to give us some tips and trick about how to manage our social relationship in this current situation? please?
Okay, so thank you. For me, maintaining a good social relation is very important, especially in this current pandemic situation where that we cannot see our friends because we should stay at home and reduce our outside activity, right? To save ourselves and save
Yeah.
everyone too. And for me, how to maintain a good social relation with others is by maintaining a good communications. Just like what we know in this current pandemic, we should stay at home for a very long time. And yes, we are get bored because we cannot socialize with others while we are social human beings. Human beings are social person, and yeah, it is very hard in situation. That's why we should do our best with what is available right now, such as we can do Google Meets or Zoom or just call them to say hello or things like that, because maintaining a good social relations with someone is very important. It is not for just their good minds, mental health, but it's also to all of us. That is all for me. And what about you, Miss Natasha?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Brian. Yes, in this current situation, we cannot see our friends, our beloved friends, and maybe our family because we stay far from them. And yes, we cannot see them face to face like in the reality. But we have phones, we have laptop and other devices. We can use that to maintain our communication. I agree what Mr. Brian said. Communication is really important to build our social relationship. It's not only for someone that we already know, but also with the other friends and other families that we see from our social media. And to build a good communication is actually, I can say it's simple. It's back to you. You have your own opinion. Why can I say it is simple? Because communication is not only to be there always in every situation, but being there just to share your stories, just to share your experience and to motivate. I know it's really hard for us right now to be there always like 24 hours with our friends because we have a different time, because also with our signal and everything. But with sharing our stories and experience to our friends and our beloved family, we can still build a good relationship with them. And I believe that if we build a good communication, we can give positive influence for them. And yeah, I think with a good communication that we build, the social relationship can be positive and it can be shown, it can be seen by everyone around us. Thank you.
All
Wow.
right. Wow.
Yes, Alia.
Such a
Communication
yeah.
is the key for your family, friends, even for your lover. Right,
It's
right,
important, yeah.
Mrs. Natasha and Mr. Brian?
Yeah, it's
All
really
right.
right. I agree with
Okay.
that.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Such a great conversations, yeah, with our guest star Muti.
Yes, very inspiring, of course.
Yeah, and helpful for us, of course. All right. So, Mr. Brian and Miss Natasha, would you like to give some remark, quotes, or something that you want to say for our beloved listener?
Okay, so maybe from me first, I would like to encourage you all that every one of us can be a leader for ourselves, because being a leader not just to control other people's but to control ourselves. And how do we react to something, how do we respond to some, it is up to our decisions, right? And then in this life you can be whatever you want to be, and this life is full of opportunity. Yes, we are born with some limitations sometimes. Yes, we are born with certain conditions, but we should fight on our dreams. Dreams big and never quit. That's all for me. What about you, Miss?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Brian. I just want to add a little bit more. Yes, all of you can be the leader, and leader is how you can help and also guide your friends and your members in the organization or your in daily life. And I want to add a little bit about to love yourself. You have to love yourself first, and if you have this ability, if you can love yourself, you will love others more than you loved them before. And yeah, from now or this pandemic, you can love yourself and love your families by following all the protocols that our use hand sanitizer. So yeah, we can start from that and keep sharing your positivity by your social media, with your friends and everything. You know the best for you. and you know the best for your families and your beloved one. Thank you.
Wow. Very nice closing statement, yeah, from
Yes.
our guest star today. Alright. So, would you like to say something, Muti?
Okay, maybe for me as if our listeners want to be successful, want to be a good leaders, you need to work for it. You need to practice for it, right? Practice makes
Yeah.
perfect. Right,
Right.
Alia?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree
That's
with you.
right.
Okay, and maybe from Alia.
Okay, I just want to put quote, yeah, from John C. Maxwell. So the higher you want to climb, the more you need leadership. The greater the impact you want to make, the greater your influence need to be. So yeah, that's all from me. And we would like to say thank you very much for Mr. Brian and Miss Nathasya for joining with us today. And hope you always healthy, stay safe, and God bless you all. Alright.
Thank you, Alithia, to you too.
Yeah, thank
Nice to
you.
meet
We're
you
really
all.
happy to be
Nice
in
to meet
here.
you.
We hope
Yeah.
our listener can get motivation and exciteful knowledge for our guest star, Mr.
Alright.
Brian and Miss
Miss
Natasha.
Natasha. Alright, so thank you all for listening to this podcast. Stay tuned for our next episode of PUSU Podcast. And for your information, PUSU Podcasts are now available on Anchor.fm, Spotify, Instagram, and YouTube.
Okay, and don't forget to send your requests, opinion, and suggestion in the comment sections below. Don't forget to share this episode to everyone you know.
Alright, I'm Alia,
And I'm Mute,
and our guest star,
Mr.
Sir
Brian
Brian, and
and Miss
Miss
Mr.
Natasha.
Alithia.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
see
you,
you.
Thank you,
everyone.
And
guys.
happy
Thank you. God
Satnight,
bless
Stay
you.
safe and stay
Presunivers.
healthy.
Bye bye.
PUSU Podcast 2021. We
We
hear,
hear,
we
we
talk,
talk,
we
we
give
give
you
you
insight.
insight.